It's time to sit back and check out the RCWR show with Lee Sanders. Get fun, in-depth coverage and analysis from the latest in professional wrestling in AEW, WWE, NWA, Impact Wrestling, or the world of entertainment. From hit TV shows to your favorite sports like the NBA or NFL. All things music, movies, and beyond, while trying to make sense of this crazy world we live in. All while keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive since 2011. And now your host, live from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Hey, good kind of people. What is going on? Covering the latest in all things wrestling, entertainment, and beyond. You are checking out the RCWR show coming at you for this Wednesday night of August 24th, 2022. What is going on with you good kind people? Happy hump day. Here we are. It is Wednesday weekend just around the corner, y'all. Are you guys pumped? You guys pumped? I know I definitely am. Hey, yo. Solid ass Dynamite, lot to be talking about. I like when we get weeks like this because honestly, especially when the line begins to blur and you're trying to figure out, okay, yo, is something brewing behind the scenes or is something brewing behind the scenes? What's going on? I would imagine this episode of Dynamite is giving all the vloggers, bloggers, podcasters, columnists, reporters, I would imagine it's giving them a shit ton to talk about for the rest of this week because, man, did we have some, what the fuck did we just watch moments from tonight's Dynamite episode. Come one, come all, stay a little while for the next little bit that we're going to be live with you guys. Again, hope you guys have been doing pretty good so far. Just taking it easy over here at my respected end. I told you guys that as far as this show had went, if you were with me on the Monday night show, especially if you were watching the Monday webcast, you would have seen little Chloe running around and just causing a little bit of a ruckus in the background, causing a little bit of a distraction. She is not in the studio tonight. She's actually out roaming the halls there. So she seems pretty content, though. So we should have a much more laser-focused show. You guys definitely will have my undivided attention unless otherwise. I do have a poll up on Twitter at the RCWR show. Feel free to give me a follow over there as well, asking you guys what did you think about tonight's AEW Dynamite. And the way it's looking right now, early votes coming in. We'll come on back a little bit later on, maybe after we're done with the talk of Dynamite. But right now, I'm seeing 20% of you are staying in the middle for this week's Dynamite. Meanwhile, a little bit over 33% of you are giving it a thumbs down. Top dog, but not by much. 46% of you are giving it a thumbs up. So, look, a relatively solid episode this week, I have to say. Definitely a lot of good foundation was built heading towards AEW All Out. We know that's going to be going down at this point in a matter of, looking at the calendar here, it feels like maybe a week and a half. Yeah, almost a week and a half that it's going to be going down. Because remember, it's happening on Sunday, September 4th in Illinois and everything. So, but we saw a lot of matches get announced for All Out on this episode of Dynamite. So a lot of good stuff, but really the biggest takeaway out of this episode, when it's all said and done, Jon Moxley taking on CM Punk to crown the undisputed AEW World Heavyweight Champion. And good God almighty, was that a major, major, major what the fuck moment right there. And I'm sure it's going to be a serious talking point for many in the podcasting world, particularly. But you're looking at this match particularly, and you're going, okay, Moxley, CM Punk, here we go. And it's interesting because I didn't really hear too many people jump out there and really make predictions as far as who they felt was going to come out of this match on top. I didn't really see a definitive, okay, I'm going to go with. If anything, I had saw that there were some people bringing up a point of, well, somebody is surely going to fuck around with this match, whether it be a MJF. And I thought that was rather a peculiar pick, that people were actually saying MJF is going to return and he's going to, meddle around, poke his nose in this. He's going to fuck this up and everything. This is going to be kind of his way to stick it to Tony Khan. And I just sat back and I looked at that idea and I just couldn't help but say to myself, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Literally, if you were to try to, sit me down for about 5 minutes and explain to me, no, Lee, it's actually a good idea to go in this direction with MJF. You could try for 5 minutes, but I'm not drinking that Kool-Aid, because one of the very last times that we had saw MJF, remember, he said, not directly to Tony Khan's face, but he did say to Tony Khan, I want you to fucking fire me, you fucking mark. Right? I mean, go back and look at that passionate fucking off the script, if you want to call it, that promo that MJF had cut on Tony Khan, and just him wanting out of AEW and all that. And okay, so we're somehow going to essentially reward that behavior in storyline by having MJF fuck with this main event match between CM Punk and Jon Moxley. That doesn't quite sound right. Even if you were to try to spin it in a way where it's all about MJF, I never bought that for 1 minute, and I was quite surprised that it was taking up a lot of forums and on social media, that so many people, I don't know who started it, but I just looked at that going, no, there's no way MJF is going to be returning here. Forget about that. Now, something else that was kind of picking up a little bit of steam as well. Some felt, well, maybe Hangman Adam Page is potentially going to fuck around with this. Maybe what CM Punk had said, those were some stinging words, and, maybe we'll see Hangman Adam Page. And I looked at that and I honestly said, nah, man, I'm just not seeing that, because looking at the trajectory of where Hangman Adam Page is and his respected story arc, and then where CM Punk was in his respected story arc, that didn't quite make any sense to, wait, all because of CM Punk's promo from last week, we're somehow supposed to come back full circle to, and then it's essentially going to be a triple threat. I didn't even buy into that one. For me, I looked at this and I said, okay, Moxley, Punk, is it possible that maybe we could see some type of a fuck finish, a double count out? Remember, I had pointed it out to you guys on the last show that this was going to be interesting to go into, because Tony Khan has prided himself on, hey, man, yeah, I see how certain companies are operating, and yeah, we don't like to try to do those fuck finishes, double countouts and all that. We like to try to do our best to let there be a definitive winner and everything. So to see how this match had played out between Punk and Moxley, to say shocking would be an absolute fucking understatement, let me tell you. If you were to tell me 10 hours ago, hell, 2 hours ago, hey, Lee, the match between CM Punk and Jon Moxley is going to be barely a 3-minute match, first thing I would say to you is, damn, what happened? Was there some type of a power outage at the arena where Dynamite was at? Did somebody legit suffer some type of an injury, and as a result, they had to go with an audible? Or I would be asking you those type of questions. And then if you were to follow up and say to me, no, wait, this is pretty much looking 3-minute match, and definitively this is how it panned out, I would say, yeah, something doesn't quite sound right here. There's something brewing behind the scenes. I'm not really sure what to make of it, but okay, it is what it is. To that match we go. Match started off nice and white hot. You got the crowds very pro CM Punk, but vast majority pro Jon Moxley. You got, okay, this is some great, interesting dynamics that we got going on here. Okay, this is good. Two competitors are circling each other for a little bit, soaking up all that energy that's coming from the crowd before they finally go in to lock up on one another. They're jockeying for position. And finally, you're going, okay, right? And I like that when they were jockeying for position, in that, not really a test of strength, but going into it with the headlock and pretty much jockeying for a position that way. I like how that wasn't pretty long-winded, right? Because we've seen some of those joints, they can go for a couple of minutes there just being in that position and everything, and then finally breaking away, circling around each other yet again, then going in for another lockup, pretty much rinse, repeat, and you're essentially killing time that way. So I'm happy to see that the way it opened up, it pretty much didn't go down that way. But Moxley was able to attack Punk first, coming in with the strikes, elbow strikes. Punk comes right back, slaps the hell out of him. From there, strikes to the midsection. Punk follows up with punches to the head of Moxley, has him in the corner and everything, puts a couple of knees to his faces. Moxley comes right back with a vicious headbutt. And then from there, Punk just comes from out of nowhere with a pretty sweet-ass roundhouse kick. And that roundhouse kick came courtesy of that left leg. And remember, that left leg is the one that he was having issues with, where he was sidelined for a little bit. So as soon as he does that spinning roundhouse kick, CM Punk I'm talking about, he immediately drops to the ground, screaming in pain. He's favoring that ankle. He's holding on to it. Referee in that match, I believe it was Paul Turner, he's going in. He's checking on CM Punk, trying to find out if the guy can somehow continue. And CM Punk, he is barely struggling to get to his feet. Moxley, at this point, he's already recovered from that kick to the head. He's off in the corner, kind of looking on, canvassing everything that's going down, assessing the situation and all that. And then he just comes right at CM Punk, right as Punk gets up, clotheslines the living hell out of him. And then goes to his trademark elbows to the face, elbows to the side of the head, to the back of the head, and then applies a wrench on CM Punk's left ankle, right? So he's homing in on it. He smells blood. You're going, okay, all right, this is beautifully laid out so far. You're expecting maybe at this point, maybe CM Punk is going to somehow maneuver his way out of the ring, try to recover. Maybe that has Moxley give chase. And then afterwards, CM Punk ends up sending Moxley into the steel barricades, shakes it off for a little bit. Who knows? Maybe we get ready to go into a picture-in-picture break, right? Something along those lines. No, none of that fucking happens. Right after Moxley had connected with that wrench on CM Punk's ankle, he follows it up with the Death Rider on Punk. And then he picks up Punk and he goes for this double underhook overhead slam. Goes for the cover. 1, 2, 3. We got ourselves officially a new AEW World Heavyweight Champion. He is now the AEW Undisputed World Heavyweight Champion. And his name is Jon fucking Moxley. And that was just a stunner. That was a stunner. And that was barely, as I mentioned, a 3-minute match. Get past the introductions, little video packages and all that. Strip it all away. And that's what we were left with, was barely a 3-minute match. I love how they brilliantly panned out to the crowd to get their reactions, homing in on their faces. Lot of stunned faces. Look, I was watching this, as always, with the volume off because I like really being able to take in the in-ring action, particularly with my volume on mute, right? It just helps me focus a lot better, right? Unless there's a promo, somebody cutting a promo, then I'll actually unmute, but I pretty much have it on mute for the whole time if I can help it. And, I'm looking at how everything is panning out. I'm looking at the crowd's reaction. I can tell you my reaction in real time. I'm going, God damn, we're doing it like this? We're really doing it? Just, wow. I was speechless to see the way things had played out here. And as you continue to see the fans that were in shock and all, post-match, you got Jon Moxley. He seems rather pissed off as he's looking back at CM Punk a couple of times. And Moxley is looking on in a way where he's disgusted, if you will. Like, he doesn't even want to share the same ring with CM Punk. And it sets up a situation where Moxley at one point gets out of the ring and he's just throwing the fucking AEW championship on the ground and everything, picks up a steel chair, he's throwing that, and he's just walking around. He is pissed, right? But eventually he makes his exit, and he's kind of giving not a fuck you hand gesture, but a get that fucking bum out of the ring already type of hand gesture to CM Punk and everything, as you've got officials, EMTs, Doc Sampson, they're checking in on Punk. And Punk pretty much puts his arms around all these guys as he is limping on one leg up the ramp, looks on there's a lot of mixed emotions in that face. It looked like disappointment, looked like anger, it looked like disbelief, like all of that going on. And the main thing that kept being driven home to us by the commentators, as I do, even though I have it on mute, I do have the closed captioning going, was the fact that, hey, do you think it's possible that CM Punk came back too soon? Do you think that, with the foot injury and everything, do you think he underestimated his opponent here and Jon Moxley? Not to take anything away from Moxley, it's all said and done. He is the new AEW World Champion. What he's been doing for the months that Punk has been out and everything, he has been the face of the company. He has been the workhorse. No disrespect, no shade to him, but looking at CM Punk, it's safe to say he never was really at 100% here, right? So they had that question going on as everything had panned out. But you were just left stunned seeing all of this. And we saw Jon Moxley afterwards, a couple of segments later. He was in a backstage area as cameras had caught up to him, and he pretty much had said the main point I want to emphasize here and stress is how he talked about how if there's any problem in professional wrestling, the answer to any problem in wrestling, the answer is always Jon Moxley. And that he is not some guy, he is the fucking guy. He has no limitations as far as when is his time. His time is right goddamn now. So, it was a great, passionate fucking promo there from Jon Moxley and everything. But now comes the bigger question on the minds of a lot of wrestling fans. And I know a lot of people are going to want some type of inside information and all that. But just, okay, what exactly did we just watch play out before our eyes here? Is there more to this story that meets the eye? Or, what's going on here? Because the way things had left off leading up to this main event match was, okay, we hear that CM Punk has this receipt that he wanted to cash in on Hangman Adam Page. And you saw how that had played out from a week ago. We don't need to go down the revisionist history of the he said, she said, right? We pretty much already know. That was basically a receipt, supposedly, that CM Punk was looking to cash in on Hangman Adam Page. And then you had some reports that were floating around out there that had said, CM Punk. Remember that one report where they were saying CM Punk apparently, so upset, irritated by some of the stuff that was going on that, originally he was not even going to show up at Dynamite for last week. Remember those reports that was floating around? But then as we saw how things had came to be, CM Punk actually did show up and everything. So, you're keeping that in mind. You're also keeping in mind about how Punk didn't appreciate Hangman Page essentially going into business for himself and everything. And then, you combine that with the fact that CM Punk pretty much, again, he went into business for himself, and that definitely rubbed quite a few people off the wrong way. Could it have potentially rubbed off Tony Khan in such a way where, you're looking at that, but then you think about those media skirms after an AEW pay-per-view, and you have seen how Tony Khan has said certain things, and CM Punk just has this look on his face like, dude, seriously, shut the fuck up. You're making me feel totally uncomfortable right now. So just go back and look at some of that stuff. Let's go back and look at some of that stuff. And, you just can't help but wonder here. It's really interesting. It really is. Now, granted, we did have that one statement that came out from CM Punk going into the weekend where he had reflected on being back in professional wrestling for a whole year. He had reached his 1 year anniversary right on time with the 1 year anniversary of AEW Rampage and everything. And we'll be talking about AEW Rampage later on in the show. I have a nice, fun little retrospective look as far as Rampage 1 year later and everything. But for those of you that maybe had missed CM Punk talking about his 1 year anniversary and everything, here's what he had said. And he had posted this on Instagram going into the weekend and everything. And he said, and I quote, all right, I'm looking here. He said, and I quote, hang on. Nope. I don't have it. Hang on. Let me see it again. Should be, yep, here it is. All right, now I got it. Okay, here we go. Well, wait a minute. Let's see. I should have it here. I'm looking for you guys. Damn it, I thought I had it in my notes. Give me a second here. But basically what he was saying was this has been the best year of his professional wrestling career. That's in part what he had said. I have his official statement now, by the way. 1 year ago began the best year of my professional career. Too many great moments, not enough space to post all the great pics. Rekindled passion, made new friends, reunited with old ones. Can't stop smiling. Won't stop until the wheels fall off. Thank you, most of all, to the fans who made it possible. I'm having the time of my life as there's a drive into deep, left by Castagnoli's. Wait a minute, what the fuck is he saying? This sounds really, I'm trying to clean it up as best as I can. You know me. Thank you most of all to the fans who made it possible. I'm having the time of my life as there's a drive into deep left field by Castagnoli's. I don't know what that means. And that'll be a home run. And so that'll make it a 4-0 ball game. All right, so he's got a little baseball reference there and all that. And the picture that he had enclosed was a joint from the United Center and everything, right? So you're looking at that and you're going, oh, okay, nice and everything. One other note that I thought was interesting, and I'm very curious, I'll be listening to certain podcasters to see if they will also be bringing this up. But something that I want to have be put in the back of you all's minds, it's that I want you to just reminisce amongst yourselves about. And that's the fact that going into this main event match, we saw in the lower left-hand corner a AEW shop promotion plug for CM Punk's commemorative 1 year with AEW. It was like a jersey. It was a hockey jersey. And it looks pretty cool. If you have the extra money floating around, you are a hardcore CM Punk fan, then you know what? You'll find it up your alley. But for others, you'll look at that and you might say, I don't really want to wear that, especially if you're trying to maybe one day get his autograph or whatever. You might look at that and you might say, or you just look at that all together and say, man, that's a steep price. I think I would rather just put that money to the side and maybe see if I can, get another blah, blah, blah dollars and get myself a replica belt, because that commemorative hockey CM Punk jersey that's available at Pro Wrestling Tees and all that, they want $124. Yeah, $124 fucking dollars for that. Too steep for my blood. That is, I like Punk, but not as much as I used to. But I mean, for me to come out of my pocket and nah, you can miss me with that. I think the last time I was pretty excited about trying to get a hold of some type of CM Punk memorabilia, it had to do with there was like a flag where it was like his fist, illustration of his fist. I think it was around the time when he first popped up in AEW Rampage, and it was like this big old flag joint. I was looking at that saying, wow, that'd be pretty cool to actually hang up on the fucking wall somewhere, because it was massively huge, and that had got sold out real fucking quick. I was disappointed. To this day, I still try to look for it and everything. But when that main event match was going down, they had showed that little plug. And I just thought that was a little bit interesting, because if everything was not kosher and paradise, then why would we be promoting something like that? That was just, I didn't overanalyze that. I just looked at that, and when I first saw it, I'm going, that's kind of interesting. I need to look that up while the match is playing. So as the match was playing on my screen, I'm on my phone and I'm going to the shop joint. I'm looking, getting the information and everything. Was actually trying to download a couple of pictures so I could actually show you guys how the jersey looks and all that. And then the next thing I know, I go, can't find pictures, whatever. Put the phone down. I'm going back, watching the match and everything. And then it was over. And I'm just processing everything in real time. And one of the first things that clicked in my head was, they just showed us this joint for CM Punk's jersey. So if everything wasn't okay with Tony Khan and crew, then, I mean, it's safe to say we wouldn't see something like that, right? We wouldn't see some type of a plug like that. And then I'm also thinking about what CM Punk had just said going into this episode, where he's having the best time of his life right now and all that. So it brings about this question. And yes, I agree with those of you that said, look, the way this was laid out, something seems kind of funny here. Something seems kind of iffy. Something seems fishy. I get that. I hear where you guys are coming from. But the way I'm kind of looking at this right now, I feel as though that maybe the seeds have been planted for quite a while. It goes as far back as Hangman Page, Punk, that nice little infamous promo where Hangman Page is essentially saying, look, I know that you're a person with bad intentions. You're not here to be a good foot soldier. You're not here to wave that AEW flag. You're here to pretty much do business for yourself, whatever is most convenient for you and everything, right? I just kind of feel with some of those seeds that have been planted leading all the way up to now and everything culminating in what went down tonight has essentially been a nice, pretty-ass foundation that's been laid out to have CM Punk go the heel route. I could be wrong on that one. You guys are definitely more than free to discuss amongst yourselves, but just looking at all of that compelling points of information that I just brought before you, I mean, you got to admit it's kind of hard to go, well, nah, man, there's got to be something going on here, right? Because, look, let's counter what all I'm saying so far. Now, some of you guys may be going, okay, I hear where you're coming from, Lee, all right? Some decent points, but wait a minute here, man. We're so close to AEW All Out. Dude, why not just have Punk defend the championship at the pay-per-view, man? Why not just fucking, this kind of doesn't make any fucking sense, dude. What the hell? To that, I say, this is interesting because it very well could have been, honestly, I think it very well could have been a situation where if Jon Moxley wasn't in the right place at the right time, all things considered, then I do feel that Punk would be back in full effect right now. But Jon Moxley, when he was needed the most and he was needed to step up for the company, he fucking did it and then some. And quite honestly, there is just no denying right now that Jon Moxley is on a fucking roll. And why should you fuck that up right now? Why should you go on ahead? You kind of feel where I'm coming from? Why would you even... No, you want to go on ahead and fucking ride that wave right now. I honestly would not be surprised, honestly, if Tony Khan and CM Punk had sat down and had a meeting of the minds. And it was pretty much, okay, look, this was supposed to be the summer of Punk and everything, but, all things considered, Moxley is fucking hot right now. We got to fucking ride that out. We can definitely go about... we can go about this another way, especially where we can really make it be very memorable and it can be a fun ride for the fans and everything. I would not be surprised if that were to be maybe perhaps a conversation that the two of them had. You hear about Punk from other wrestlers in AEW, how, he's very approachable backstage. He's always providing feedback. He's giving pointers and all that. He's watching all the matches that's pretty much going down. He stays being backstage in Gorilla, looking at the monitor and everything, very quick to approach people as they're coming to the back and letting them know what was working and wasn't working with their respected segments, matches, and all that. So I would just like to believe that, meeting of the minds, let's just kind of go in this respected direction instead, right? So that's kind of where I'm at with that one. Let me know what you guys are thinking, though. If you kind of feel that same way, you're kind of looking at it a different way, but all things considered, look, it's definitely, it's going to be a major talking point for the rest of this week. I can only imagine what the hell the Meltzers and Mike Johnsons and Sean Ross Sapps are going to be putting out there. It's going to be interesting to see what information they're going to be able to uncover, if anything. I'm very, very fucking curious. Those names you want to pay attention to. Don't pay attention to the throwing of the dart on the fucking wall, just trying to force something to stick just from a fucking guess or whatever. I mean, as it stands right now, we're pretty much dealing with real-time, instant reactions to what we just saw play out before our very eyes. So, those are my takeaways, my genuine takeaways. But I'm loving it. I love when we have storytelling where you're hearing some of this stuff that's being reported, and then how things are playing out on television, and you're going, man, the lines are really blurring here. what's truth and what's not here? What's fact or fiction? What's the deal? I love it when we get shit like this. I really, really do, because it gives us all as a whole, as a wrestling community, loads of great shit to talk about and everything. So nice how that was set up. I should have known something was up, though, in retrospect, because when we had this match come on, at this point, this match came on at 9:02 on the East Coast, 9:02 p.m. on the East Coast. You're going, wait a minute, we're already going into the World Heavyweight Undisputed Championship match? Like, what the fuck? And I was a little bit perturbed at that, and I'll tell you the reason why. Is because I just saw a Rampage where we had a trios match close out instead of the AEW Tag Champions and Swerve and Our Glory close out. No, it was all about this trios tournament. I'm going, whatever. Then we fast forward, we go into tonight's show, and at 9:02 we get the main event. It's like, wait, no, this should close out. Why are we we're being forced with the trios once again here? Like, what? And now when you look back at it in retrospect, you go, okay, you know what? For what it was worth, that actually was a good placement for that match. All things considered, that actually was a damn good placement. Good, nice little, and that pretty much was taking you into your second hour. Right? So that was a nice way to pretty much kick off your second hour of programming there. I did like the way the first hour of programming had kicked off, as Chris Jericho had called for Daniel Garcia to enter the ring. And, wanted to, not necessarily tough love, but pretty much let him know, hey, look, I appreciate everything that you've been doing so far, especially since being part of our stable and everything. You've got the skills. You've got everything it takes to be a really great sports entertainer, right? And you got Bryan Danielson coming out there and pretty much reminding Garcia, hey, don't forget that what you and me had did the other week, what we've been doing off and on these past several weeks. I mean, you have, without a doubt, been putting down some of your best work as a professional wrestler, and you're obviously at a crossroads here, pretty much kind of reiterating to Garcia, look, you want to be a sports entertainer or you want to be a professional wrestler, basically. And we saw Chris Jericho, he wasn't really feeling this, and Garcia had told Jericho straight up, hey man, I had a really great match against Danielson last week. We went 30 minutes long. It was a damn good match. Everybody was ranting and raving over our match. Some were calling it a match of the year caliber type of match. Yeah, those that said it was a match of the year caliber type of match, I'm definitely right there. I thoroughly had enjoyed that fucking match. I thoroughly had enjoyed it. So for Garcia to say to Jericho, hey, great fucking 30 minutes. And then we have this moment where, I'm getting ready to shake hands with my hero, and you ruined it. You ruined that moment for me, and Jericho pretty much telling him, hey, I'm not going to apologize to you, but what I can tell you is that there's going to be many more memorable matches. You're going to have many memorable moments besides that one in your career. You're just getting started, but make no mistake about it, you got what it takes to be a great sports entertainer, right? So a little bit of back and forth going on here, and somehow Chris Jericho ends up being pushed on his ass yet again by Daniel Garcia for the second week in a row. As Jericho, great how he sold the fuck out of being pushed on his ass and just looking on at Garcia dumbfounded and everything. I loved it. I loved the selling there. Garcia making his exit. Then Danielson, giving Jericho sarcastically his props, saying, you do some pretty good, funny stuff for sports entertainment. I'll give you that. This pretty much has Jericho taking little cheap shots at Bryan Danielson. Danielson coming right back. Gee, I wonder what, Owen Hart. I wonder what Stu Hart would think as far as who is the best technical wrestler. Lionheart, Chris Jericho, or the American Dragon. So this pretty much sets up Chris Jericho issuing, was it Chris Jericho? I'm trying to think if it was Jericho that issued the challenge or if it was Danielson that issued the challenge. But basically when it was all, yeah, you know what? Danielson actually wanted to go one-on-one against Jericho on tonight's Dynamite. But Jericho came right back and said, you know what, I'm down for it. We can do this, but we're going to do it September 4th at All Out. And Danielson pretty much, yeah, okay, all right, bet. Let's do it then. So that, I'm eagerly anticipating that one. That one's actually going to be a fun fucking match. I'm looking forward to that one. Dax Harwood taking on Jay Lethal in a one-on-one matchup. First matchup of the evening for Dynamite. Great way to follow up a nice, good, strong opening segment, then with a great, strong matcher. Dax Harwood has really been finding his stride as of late as a singles competitor. I'm telling you, when I just look at the year-end awards and I'm just thinking about a dark workhorse, I'm just looking at Dax Harwood and I'm going, man, it's really hard. I mean, he's almost neck to neck with Jay Lethal right now because Jay Lethal has really been cranking it up as well. But, Dax has been at it. Dax Harwood, he's been at it a little bit longer in my book. But Jay Lethal is literally right there, almost tied neck to neck with him and everything. But these two, really proud of them in this match that they had with one another tonight. I loved it. Of all the matches that we got from tonight's Dynamite, this for me was the absolute delight and highlight of the entire show. I have to say, I could have just personally watched these two go at it for 25, 30 fucking minutes, basically. It's funny too because some could maybe make an argument that, man, that bullshit roll-up ending at the end that pretty much gave Jay Lethal the win. What the fuck, right? But, you're thinking about where Jay Lethal is in storyline, career path-wise, and now he's a heel and everything. You're going, nah, you know what? This falls right into alignment with how Jay Lethal has been rolling as of late, right? And so you're going, no, this is perfectly fine and everything, especially if you're trying to set this up in a way where you're trying to give the Jay Lethal, Sanjay Dutt, Satnam Singh stable, if you're trying to give them a little bit of an edge, because remember, we've been seeing on AEW programming these past several weeks now, this stable pretty much feuding with FTR and Wardlow and everything, right down to the point post-match. Sanjay Dutt celebrating the fact that his boy Jay Lethal picked up the dub and everything, letting them know, hey, letting FTR know, hey, FTR, Wardlow not in the house, by the way. Wardlow was not in the house, but letting them know, hey, coming up at AEW All Out, you guys aren't just going to be facing Jay Lethal. No. You're also going to be facing these two. And you're going, well, surely it's Sanjay Dutt and Satnam Singh. That's the way it seems that we've been kind of building this up now, right? Wrong, because apparently the two men that's going to be joining Jay Lethal is Impact Wrestling alumni, Impact Wrestling legends, if you will, multi-time tag team champions in the Motor City Machine Guns. Motor City Machine Guns teaming up with Jay Lethal to face Wardlow and FTR. It's interesting because I actually saw that there were some people that had a little bit of a sour face when finding out that Motor City Machine Guns were going to be doing their thing at All Out. I actually welcome it. I'm actually still a fan of the Motor City Machine Guns. I don't feel that, they're being spammed down. I think if anything, where I've started to become a little bit sour on Motor City in recent years is, and look, it's unfortunate, but whenever there's been some type of a setback because of an injury, just when the Motor City Machine Guns are building up some really great momentum, and then all of a sudden, unfortunately, all right, well, one of these guys is injured, and as a result, they gotta, and look, not to mention personal life can get in the way as well. Let's not also forget that in regards to Alex Shelley, if I remember correctly, and I'll have to rely on you guys, but Alex Shelley is in the healthcare field, if I'm not mistaken. All right, that's pretty much his first love. So he's been doing that, carrying that load a lot more than his wrestling, right? So his real bread and butter, and what he does in the healthcare industry, that's pretty much coming first, and then the wrestling. So for some people, it may rub them the wrong way that, okay, Motor City, they've been kind of coming off a little bit inconsistent, whether it's because of whatever's going on in their personal lives or because whatever is going down with injuries and all that. But I can look at those things and I can honestly put those things to the side, and I can legit get excited at the fact that, oh, okay, cool. We're actually going to be seeing the Motor City Machine Guns, and Jay Lethal. That should be a damn good tag matchup. Motor City and FTR, and I'm down for it. Sign me up. So I look forward to seeing how those teams are going to be mixing up at the pay-per-view. Should be pretty good. Should actually be pretty good. From there, by the way, if you guys been enjoying yourselves so far, if you haven't smashed that like button yet, make sure that you do hit it. Helps me out big time as far as content recommendations go for other people to check out the content with ease. Subscribe as well so you don't miss out on future content that comes your way on a weekly basis. We typically put out multiple shows during the week and everything. So let's keep rocking and rolling. On that note, by the way, I got some AEW Fight Forever news and gameplay footage to share with you guys. So make sure you're sticking around for that. That's actually going to be pretty fun. We'll probably get into that maybe after we get done talking about Dynamite. Thunder Rosa, another bombshell. I mean, we just got all out news after news after news after news. We find out about Thunder Rosa, and unfortunately, Thunder Rosa, due to injury, is not going to be able to compete at All Out. Remember, it was supposed to be Thunder Rosa defending the AEW Women's Championship against Toni Storm. That's not going to be the case anymore. So now what is about to go down is apparently a four-way match. Tell you a little bit more about that in a hot second. But we saw Britt Baker in action against Kylan King. I love me some Kylan King. I saw a little bit of her stuff from the Independent. She did a little something here and there in the NWA, and that's kind of really where I had first started coming across her work and going, okay, you know what, this is somebody, okay, I fuck with this girl. This girl's actually, she's got a great look about her. She's definitely got the size. I think you guys can definitely admit that. She's got some serious fucking size to her. And, a little bit of a short match. Crowd didn't really help in this particular matter, too. They kind of weren't really into this match for what it was worth. But they did show some appreciation there for Kylan King. I will say this. I did appreciate the fact that Kylan King was able to get in a little more offense on a marquee member of the AEW roster compared to the other times that we've seen her in action. And she's pretty much, it's pretty much been a squash match per se with her and everything. Give me a quick second here. I'm just checking in on the wifey, making sure she's okay, because I'm hearing the dogs barking. So, all right, I should know something in a hot second. But yeah, I like the fact that Kylan King had got in a little bit more offense. I've seen some of her stuff off and on for some of the YouTube shows and everything. So, it puts a smile on my face when I see certain girls such as her. Okay, yeah, that was wifey. Okay. When I see certain girls such as her, Sky Blue, Kiera Hogan, Layla Gray, when they're able to get into some of these TV spots and they're booked in a match where they're able to get in a little bit more offense and not always look like a goddamn chump and everything. So Britt Baker pretty much winning this decisively, not really a shocker right here. Post match, Britt Baker grabbing a microphone, talking about how unfortunate it is what happened with Rosa, but wants to remind everybody that, hey, she had wrestled the entire time that she was the AEW Women's Champion with a broken wrist, because that's what a champion does. And that as far as the pay-per-view, they'll still have Toni Storm to deal with, but lucky for her, Toni will finally be on and basically on a pay-per-view where someone actually gives a damn. So this pretty much forces Toni Storm to come out. I mean, she's looking all pissed and everything. And Britt Baker, she's waiting for her to come on down. Wham, out of nowhere, Jamie Hayter attacks her from behind. It looks like it's about to be a serious numbers game there when all of a sudden Sheeta comes out and pretty much has Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter retreating. And then that's when we find out a couple of times there about a commentating team that coming up at All Out, it's going to be a fatal four-way to crown a new AEW interim women's champion. You heard me right. AEW interim women's champion. I'm not really sure how I feel about this. I got to be honest with you, because just marinate on that for a second. I'm a little conflicted here, because on the one hand, we got this case where, all right, you're thinking about ROH, and we had a interim championship go down there when it came to the women's championship, as some of you guys probably recall, right? So we had that had came about. And then you're thinking about, what we just experienced with CM Punk Moxley, right? You're thinking about that. And you're going, that kind of rubs me a little bit the wrong way. And one could make an argument, and rightfully so, one could make an argument, we're kind of spamming out these AEW interim championships just a little too much here. Do we have to keep doing this interim championship stuff? I mean, if a motherfucker, is going to be going out, then, why not just vacate the championship and let's just crown a new fucking champion, and whenever somebody comes back, right, let them get their little rematch or whatever, and then it is what it is. I hear that. Sincerely, I hear that. You definitely could make an argument that, this whole interim championship bullshit in AEW, it's popping up a bit too much, and we kind of need to be careful here. We really shouldn't be spamming this out all over the place. You almost kind of want to tell Tony Khan and crew, hey, be a little bit cautious here, right? Try to make sure that out of an entire calendar year, if you're going to go with the interim card, that you're only pulling that stunt twice in the same year. Because the last thing you want to go down is a situation where your viewers are confused. Where they're not really sure, okay, who's the champion again? And you understand what I'm saying? That's the last thing that you need to have go down. Like, at the end of the day, the show must go on. And for me personally, I'm not really sure how I feel about them doing an interim championship right here. I'm really not sure how I feel, because on the one hand, the way things were being played out, you could definitely make an argument that, yeah, way things were shaping up, Thunder Rosa was going to flip that script and she was going to go heel. The seeds definitely were being planted there. And so on the one hand, you go, okay, all right, we're not trying to take the championship off of her. Yeah, we do have some type of story we're trying to tell here, so let's keep it going. Right? That's the one hand. And then, the flip side to that, you go into All Out, okay, Toni Storm is going to be the one, right? I mean, it would make sense, especially if it's always been your intent. Ultimately, Toni Storm, Thunder Rosa, okay, all right, yeah, let's continue to build off of this. Yeah, sure, right? But this whole interim, I'm not quite tired of it yet, but at the same time, for me, for my personal taste, it's happened too many times this calendar year already, and I think 3 is way too many. I wouldn't be surprised if you were to say to me, hey, Lee, as far as AEW, just one umbrella, AEW, ROH, just the whole one umbrella. If you were to say to me, nah, there's actually a 4th or a 5th time that has occurred with an interim champion in the same calendar year, I would say, yeah, we definitely need to pump the brakes and make sure that at most we just keep it at 2, and that's it. It's just fucking keep it moving along already. So, but show must go on. And look, Sheeta just coming from out of fucking nowhere and being thrown into this fatal 4-way match. You're just going, what the fuck? By the way, again, your participants at All Out to crown a new AEW interim women's champion: Jamie Hayter, Sheeta, Toni Storm, Britt Baker. So I'm looking forward to going into predictions with you guys as we get a little bit closer. Swerve and Our Glory, they made an appearance. They actually were chatting it up with the Acclaim. This pretty much, I'm trying to think. This went down after the match that happened between Billy Gunn taking on Colton Gunn. Father and son going at it for the very first time in AEW. For me, it wasn't so much about the match. I mean, on the one hand, you can say, because I'll be honest, the match, I'm not going to say the match was utter fucking garbage, utter fucking shit. But what I will say is this match did nothing for me whatsoever. I looked at it, and honestly, if I could have had it my way, put that shit on one of the YouTube shows. That's how disinterested I was in this. For me, it was more so about the storyline after the fact, which is basically Stokely Hathaway, who is essentially trying to do this whole dangerous alliance type of bullshit, basically, right? Now, let me set this up properly. Stokely was on the outside, and he has the boombox of the Acclaim, and he attacked Max Caster. Austin sends Anthony into the ring steps. This is all going down while the referee is distracted. Colton comes in with a low blow, follows up with the Colt 45. 1, 2, 3. That's all she wrote. So Colton Gunn picking up a win over his father. From there, Stokely enters the ring, hands over 2 business cards to the Gunn kids, and Colton and Austin, they attack Billy Gunn some more. They did take the cards, by the way. So, on one hand, you're looking at the storyline consistency, great consistency that we got going on with Stokely Hathaway trying to do his best to expand his reach among clients in AEW. I'm loving this, but I got to follow up on something I had said last week, if not the week before, which is, yo, if you're Stokely Hathaway, hey, Tony Khan, the greatest catch that's out there waiting to be fucking grabbed and essentially taken to that next level, you gotta go try to fucking sign my man, my big ass powerhouse Hobbs. You gotta go with that. You gotta go with the fucking powerhouse Hobbs. You just got to. But to be continued. To be continued. Yeah. So Colton Austin beating down on Billy Gunn, the Acclaimed. They came on out there, saving the scene, getting a nice pop, from the crowd and everything. Actually, let me back up a second. Yeah. Actually, no. Remember, I just said the Acclaim got jumped and all that. No, who came to the scene and helped out Billy Gunn there? Essentially, it was Swerve. Yeah, Swerve's music had hit. He came out there, and then Keith Lee came out next, and then the Gun Club kids, they pretty much had hauled ass. So that pretty much had set up a backstage segment between the Acclaimed and Swerve in Our Glory, where basically Swerve in Our Glory had said, hey, look, we've been watching you guys for a while. You've been putting in the work and everything, and we appreciate that. We respect that hustle and everything. And, when we look at everything that you've been doing in AEW so far, as far as tag teams go, you guys are definitely the team. So, we want to bestow upon you an opportunity to challenge for these AEW tag team titles at All Out. Acclaim come right back, and they're pretty much like, yo, we appreciate the nice compliments and everything. Y'all essentially coming out there saving us and coming to the aid of Billy Gunn and everything, but make no mistake about it, we've been busting our ass here as AEW as an AEW homegrown tag team for a minute now, and you best damn believe that if there's any team in AEW that deserves a shot at those tag team titles, it's definitely us. So, I like how they spun it in a way where it's pretty much, we don't need your charity, but we're going to take it anyway, and we're going to take those titles. So, Acclaimed taking on Swerve in Our Glory coming up at the pay-per-view. Good shit right there. We already talked about Punk, Moxley. I'm just looking through the rest of my notes here, trying to see if there's anything else we need to talk about. Ricky Starks challenging Powerhouse Hobbs to a match at All Out. Hobbs, maybe we'll get to hear his answer, whether or not he accepts this challenge on this week's Rampage. But a nice emotional, passionate spot of a segment there where Ricky Starks was talking about, his relationship with Powerhouse Hobbs, how deep he felt it had went, and just the disgusted act of betrayal that happened. He didn't see it coming and everything. So it was good. That's definitely, I'm hoping that of all the things that came out of this week's Dynamite, I'm hoping that's actually something that they, if they haven't put it online yet, they definitely go out of their way and put it up online. I think at this point, and Christian had finally accepted the challenge of Jungle Boy, fighting him at All Out. So that's now a lock as well. And then other than that, main event match of the night, the United Empire taking on Death Triangle. This was a trios tournament match here, and the United Empire had advanced here. Nice match. Great way to close out the show. All things considered, as I just said a few minutes ago, I was upset how at the 9:02 p.m. mark we got the AEW Undisputed, but all things considered, how that panned out, and then now we're going into this main event match, trios match, right? It's like, okay, all right, it's good. It's good. I'm now getting to that point where I go, okay, Tony Khan and them, there's a reason why. There's a reason to this madness. Let's just stick with this for what it's worth. And It was good. But this was a good main event match here. You definitely there's not enough substance in this match as far as the story. As far as the storyline, there's not enough substance that's in this. So to my point, you could look at this match and you could really just look at this as, okay, this is just glorified indie fetish at its fucking finest here. And if you feel that way, right, you're entitled to feel that way. I can definitely see where some folks might be coming here. Did the right team go over? Yeah, under the circumstances, the right team went over. But a good main event match. A good main event match. See, where I'm a little bit kind of tongue-tied, a little bit flabbergasted, a little bit, is because I happen to be one of those type of fans where, okay, I only know about some of these guys just through a little bit of the stuff that I've seen online, and there's really not enough for me to really, really form an opinion, right? And then we're also relying on the commentators to really help us connect the gaps. Hey, why should we give a damn about this particular team? And it doesn't help that, particularly in regards to the United Empire, that there's been so much inconsistency with them appearing on TBS and TNT. So that also doesn't help as well. Look, man, when it's all said and done, at the end of the day, you can have all the great matches on TV when you do show up. You can have great 4-star, 5-star matches every time you fucking appear. But if you're only showing up sporadically on TV, during the course of, say, 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, it makes it even more harder, I would think, to try to get that individual, that tag team, or that respected stable over. So this, for me, the way that this was essentially designed, and having United Empire be the ones to lock up with the Elite next week to try to figure out who's going to advance into the semifinals there. For me, this is nothing more than just paying that homage, kind of paying it forward to that super, super fan that's been following all things New Japan and all those other promotions. That's how I kind of look at this one and everything. Not taking away from the match itself that had played out tonight. A great, amazing main event match. I would definitely say that. A great, amazing main event match, without a doubt. But that's kind of where I'm really looking at it when it's all said and done. Ospreay and Aussie, they're celebrating when the music of Kenny Omega hits. He comes out with the Bucks. Will Ospreay invites him to the ring. Bucks and Omega, they're not quite down for getting in there just yet. Bucks are actually ending up holding Kenny Omega back. By the way, it was nice to see Kenny Omega not in arm sling and long sleeve shirt and all that other crazy shit that was going down from last week's show, where a lot of us were just going, what the hell's going, why is he looking like that, right? So that was pretty good, and pretty much the show ended that way, where there was a stare down. Omega wanted to get in a piece of the action, but Bucks and Don Callis pretty much holding him back. Good way to pretty much close out your show. A good show overall. We got to get more focused, though, on Wardlow for sure. I'm not liking what's been going on with Wardlow as of late. And look, that's despite the fact that going into Friday's Rampage, he is going to be in action. But I'm not liking somewhat of a backseat that he's been taking as of late. They're just getting started there with Ricky Starks, so I definitely got to give them a high mark on that one. I know a lot of folks want to see MJF, make his fucking return already and everything. I get that, but until they can actually figure out this is how we're going to have MJF come back, under these particular circumstances. And, this is the grand virtuoso way, we want to go about. I'm Tony Khan and crew, they could essentially take their sweet fucking time and, figure that shit out and everything. But nice, fun live show. Nice, decent build going into the pay-per-view. I mean, they established a lot tonight alone just off of this pay-per-view here. So good show for them overall. Let's see what you guys had said via Twitter one more time at the RCWR show. Looking at what you guys had said here. One more time. 21% of you are giving Dynamite a staying in the middle, while 36% of you are saying thumbs down. Still top dog, not by much though. 47% of you are giving Dynamite a thumbs up. So interesting stuff right there. Hey, let's go ahead now and let's segue into showing you guys some gameplay footage from AEW Fight Forever. There is actually now full-length gameplay footage. I was very fucking excited to hear about this from earlier in the day. The first thing that I want to do, I want to just duplicate my webcam here. So actually, give me a second here. It's only going to take me but a quick moment here. Let's say copy, and let's just come up here, and we will paste this. Yep, paste that as a reference. Okay. So that webcam is on. Give me a second here. I see one webcam, and I see my other webcam. Okay, so let's do this. Let's take this webcam. Perfect. All right. So now you guys are seeing two webcams, but it's for very good reason. And I think what we'll do, we'll put this maybe right up here. And then we'll go ahead. Let's check out this gameplay footage from AEW Fight Forever. So I've only seen a couple of seconds of the gameplay footage that was released officially earlier today from AEW Games, as apparently AEW was, bear with me here, looks like AEW had did some stuff at the Gamescom. They did a AEW Fight Forever gameplay reveal at Gamescom. And they're going to be doing it again a couple more times, I think, this week, showing some more stuff. So I know Evil Uno was there in the house and all. It was pretty cool how they had it set up. But I didn't actually watch the gameplay footage. I pretty much just looked at a couple of seconds and I said, nah, let me just download the video and then actually show it here. We all can react to it. I can give you guys my impressions and all that as we're going into it in real time and everything. So I'm pretty much done reading off and on the screen for the night here. So give me a second here. Where is my case? That's weird. Somehow I lost. Oh, there it is. I was about to say somehow I lost my case for my glasses, but I have them here. All right, let me just put my glasses away here, and we will go ahead and hit the play button. And for those of you that's going to be listening to this on demand and on the downloads, where you want to go when you check out the webcast stream, go to the 1 hour, 15-minute mark of the show to see my reactions to the gameplay footage for this video game, okay? All right, so let's go ahead here. And let's load this up. Okay, let's fast forward a little bit here. All right, there we go. Turn this down just a little bit of the gameplay footage. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very excited for this. This should be badass. Okay, so we got Kenny Omega taking on Adam
We've
Cole.
got Kenny Omega versus Adam Cole lined up for you today. In your matchup today.
There
So
you
you're
go.
going to see a full one-on-one matchup
All right, fans, here we
between
go.
the two.
An exciting match. Standing by.
Making his way to the
Are they
Nice. Nice. Nice.
up first, Kenny against Adam Cole.
It's got a WWE Legends meets Def Jam, was it Vendetta, meets WWE Day of Reckoning.
Game is still in development.
Oh,
That's right.
wow,
So this
that
game is
quick
still
they
in
got
development. This is
William
all some
Regal in there.
Footage. It is
That
not the
is
final
badass.
Right now, we also
They
have
got
some
him showing you the
tutorialization.
techniques. Okay,
AEW coaches
okay,
will
that's
be the
cool.
ones who teach you things
Damn,
within
that is
AEW,
quick how they were able
within
to
the
get
AEW
him
Fight
in the
Forever
game,
In this
yo.
instance,
Shit.
obviously, William Regal.
All right, let me just pause right there. Okay, so they're showing you the basics, the controls, and all that. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Now, one thing that I did also see, I did get a screenshot. Let me share this with you guys real quick. Here's a screenshot where it looks like if you were to pause the game, depending on who your player is, who you're playing as, you can easily pause on your respective controller and pretty much pull up on just one page all the moves that you're able to do playing as that said wrestler. As you can see here on the screen, player 2 playing as Adam Cole, and it's pretty much showing all their respective controls, control options and all that. So that's pretty badass. And as you can see constantly throughout this video, this is still a game in development. Footage may not represent the actual final product. All right, so we gotta keep that in mind. Everything that we're seeing here. Okay, let's continue on here and let's resume.
The BCC, the coach of the BCC, here to teach us the very basics of pro wrestling. And
I think it was
exactly how you think
confirmed
it would
that
work.
Paul White,
You have a strike
Big
attack,
Show,
you have a
is
strong
in the
strike
game
attack,
as well here.
You have a grapple, and it is exactly the way you think it would be played. In
Wow,
fact,
so you could just hit pause
if
and
you see
then,
right here,
okay,
do ignore
nice,
the finishes
nice.
and signatures for the time being.
Nice.
Pin is your left.
That
your
is
left
literally what I
bumper,
was just showing you guys a few
right
seconds ago.
and left bumper are your reversals for grapple, for strikes. Holding any of the buttons also is a strong strike or a strong grapple. A lot of the stuff that we are accustomed to playing, if you're in my generation at the very least, back in the Nintendo 64 era and stuff.
Nice.
That is exactly how this game plays.
It's got a grimy kind of feel to it. I like it. It kind of has like a NXT black and gold vibe to it. The way this is playing, I'm liking it. Look at that realism from the fans in the back. I like that. I like, we've seen some shitty ass backgrounds for crowds in some video games, so that looks pretty good.
Like this back body drop that he just performed. Your bar will keep going up and up and up, and eventually.
I sadly cannot hear the crowd reaction the way I have this set up for you guys, unless if I were to monitor. So hang on a second.
For this game show, and yeah, the build is evolving and evolving. We are doing polishing and polishing.
There should be a way for me to monitor.
Yeah, continue till we have the quality we want.
Of course. Now, whatever you may think of this footage right now, it's already improved, I think, from
Yes, definitely.
it is constantly being worked on by the team. Kenny obviously has a big part in what is done in the game. And
he's the creative mastermind behind everything.
I was going to say you've worked with him, and he's very hands-on.
What a title, the creative master.
Yes, I can monitor now.
Definitely is.
And we
Sadly,
also
he's not at Gamescom, but in the spirit he's
here.
here.
In spirit he's there for sure. You can see this is a very typical Kenny Omega backbreaker. Just earlier we saw his taunts. There's actual audio on taunt. So Adam Cole says "bay bay" when he does his taunt. Kenny Omega says "boom" when he points the gun.
Nice.
We've got our first pin here. Obviously, Aubrey Edwards, our referee.
Nice. That's nice. You hear the wrestlers actually say their shit when they're doing signature moves. That's nice.
German suplex.
I mean, it was really important to get this real AEW feeling into the game, with all the original voice lines, with everything, with chants.
There you go. There's his back elbow from the corner. And so the movesets for the characters, from what I have seen, are very spot on. We're going to see more of Kenny's very soon. There's also springboard maneuvers, in case you were wondering. There it is. Now, the signature maneuvers that I was talking about just earlier, there's actually a plethora of the great word, by the way, Colt Cabana. A plethora of signature maneuvers. You can do up to 5 different signature maneuvers, and they can be from any direction. Those are activated with your D-pad. You can see right here, here are Kenny Omega's finishers and signatures. So at this available moment, we have the signatures such as the Powerbomb V-Trigger, we've got the running V-Trigger, a Snapdragon Suplex, and a different version of Snapdragon Suplex. And then when we finally get to the finisher, we'll finally be able to unlock the One-Wing Angel and various modifications to that move and the V-Trigger. This is the first of his signatures. This is the Powerbomb into a V-Trigger. Here we are.
Ooh. Nice.
Now, obviously, pinning your opponent is with that left bumper, as I said earlier. Kenny Omega not wanting to end this match just yet.
And the cool thing about the controls is also they are easy to learn, but they are hard to master. And that's the cool thing. I think
Easy to learn controls, but hard to master.
But to be really good, you need to spend some time.
In fact,
Hard to master from what standpoint?
Meter goes to special when you taunt during a signature phase, and so that will turn you into special phase. The special phase is short. You've played Yuke's previous games. You understand that you only have a short counter to do these moves. So as you can see, we've rushed to do the One-Winged Angel right here on Adam Cole. But there's a short period. You can already tell, bottom left-hand side, it expired.
Right.
And the momentum can be cut short fairly quickly. Adam Cole takes over, and Kenny's signature bar.
Now, I wonder if you can hide all this information that's in the lower corners here, so you can really get that spontaneous feel as you're playing the game, whether or not your opponent is out or not.
Bottom left-hand side, Kenny's head took damage, so over time, Kenny's head will take damage, arms will take damage, legs will take damage, body will take damage, and you can pinpoint something to make it easier to submit. So in this example right here, to get out of a submission, you mash the buttons. It is not a mini game of sorts. Same with kicking out. If you're very good at big backbreaker again. If you're very good at reversals and stuff, LB, RB is what you'll need. Oh, here we go.
Now, if I'm a button masher, what would I be good at?
You'd be good at striking for sure, but you'd also be good at kicking out, is which I was getting at before I was kind of
rudely interrupted by nobody.
I was really interrupted by looking at the footage. I'll be honest.
The greatness of this game.
Yes. There you go. There's the Adam Cole baby.
Also, I want
right
everyone to take note of the audience. I don't know. I just feel it's so cool. They have
I do too. Yeah, the audience is really cool.
Shop.com. You should go and buy a T-shirt there. You can find Colt Cabana t-shirts there.
AEW.com.
ShopAEW.com. You can go to ShopAEW.com, and all of those T-shirts are, in fact, art from our T-shirts. Obviously, the crowd has different models for every character. In this instance, you're going to see Adam Cole just hit a signature maneuver right before his brainbuster to the knee, but he is in that signature phase for a much longer time than he would be in a finisher phase. So there's the patella brainbuster. And this is in this instance, boom! He hits the boom from behind the head.
Okay.
And could win this match at this moment.
It's not over yet.
So like I said earlier, breaking the pinfall is by mashing the button. There you are. You mash fast enough, you can kick out just before 3, making it a 2.9.
I would be the best kick-outer in the game.
You would, I'm sure.
So button mash your way into trying to tap out or trying to kick out of a pin attempt.
Been recorded at AEW live shows for the last 3-4 months. If you've been to any of our live shows in America, you have not. Wow. You may have been part of recordings for this game.
That's cool.
To contribute their voices to our video game.
And there's my friend Frank in the crowd. Different Frank.
What we don't see in this demo right now is we also have plenty of weapons in this game. We have 40 different ones.
40 different weapons.
40 different
40.
weapons.
Oh, here
most
it
likely-
is. One Wing Angel off the top. That has to be it. That absolutely has to be it. One,
You ain't kicking out.
2, 3.
Yeah, I'm about to say, you ain't kicking out of that one.
We have a vast variety of maneuvers that have been handcrafted in this game. You know, no one does the One Wing Angel like Kenny Omega, and this was crafted off footage of him as well. You can see his singles records based on this this one matchup has gone up.
Yeah, and I
One
also
by
love,
one.
like, that's the actual bottom third.
It is. That
in
is exactly
AEW.
what you will see on AEW television. It's the
Nice. Okay. That was pretty nice. Okay, let me get rid of this. And let me just remove that. Okay, I gotta say, that was damn fucking impressive. I gotta say, I loved everything that I had saw with the game there. And I'm looking forward to getting my hands on the finished product. I'm really looking forward to it. Now, I did try to see about what's going on with an official release date, and I don't see anything as far as an official release date yet. The way it's looking right now, it's still being projected. It should be released this year. It should be released before 2022 is up. So, I would just take that with a grain of salt. I mean, if it's not going to, like I told you guys, I think maybe 2, possibly 3 weeks ago, if there is no announcement made about the game being released this year by the time I would say before September is out, because normally if a game is pretty much ready to go, it's ready to drop, at least 2-3 months out, then usually they like to get the word out like as early as possible. So I would say if before the end of September, if there's no announcement about this game being out possibly this calendar year, then 9 times out of 10, first quarter of 2023 is probably how it's going to be looking for that game, honestly. But it looks very promising. It seems that all parties involved have really done a great job in taking their time and making sure that every fine detail is hammered out. I just love that nice feel as far as visually, very pleasing to the eye. I gotta say, like I said at the very top, for those of you that might have missed it there, you just now tuning in. The game footage, they reminded me a lot of WWE Day of Reckoning meets. Definitely, I can see a little bit of No Mercy elements in there. The Def Jam Vendetta game, I can see a bit of that mixed in there. It's also got a little bit of SmackDown versus Raw thrown into it as well. And I can also see a bit of Legends of Wrestling. So it's interesting how I look at it, and visually there's so many elements in that in what I just saw that's reminding me of all of those games where they're taking a little bit of something from here, taking a little bit of something from there. So I'm liking that. I'm very excited to learn more about the other game modes. I know they've got their own respected GM mode. I'm definitely very, very curious about that. So definitely I want to know more about Create a Wrestler. I want to know more about that. I want to know how multi-layered, how not complex, but as far as options go and everything, where are we with that? I think that's really going to be the true calling card there for a lot of gamers, especially in this day and age where people like to be able to upload their own photos and, of their favorite wrestlers or celebrities, athletes, or themselves, because they want to be able to create the best fine version that's humanly possible. I'm very curious how that's going to stand out from all the other stuff that you see that's currently out there and everything. But off to a good start. I definitely got to commend all the necessary parties involved. I still would feel a hell of a lot better if we as fans could somehow get a hold of a playable demo and at the same time be able to enter some type of a online multiplayer mode for a certain period of time where we're able to provide that feedback and all of that. That way tweaks can be made, all that good stuff. But if you were to do that, then obviously that would mean you would have to push the game back even further. You feel where I'm coming from? So when I say to you guys, hey, I could imagine the game coming out this year if some type of an announcement is made before the end of September, you're hoping that, okay, maybe they'll announce December the game is going to drop. Okay? So then maybe in October, there's going to be some type of a playable demo. And then whatever needs to be hammered out or whatever, there's going to be patches. All that's going to be worked out that way. When the game is officially released, street release-wise, day one, you ain't got to worry about no hiccups, none of that other shit, right? We've seen it happen before with these games that come out day of release. A lot of shit that gets overlooked and a patch has to be put out a fucking sap, right? So I like it. Let me know you guys' thoughts about the game. Very curious. All right, so other than that, hey, here is AEW Dark matches for this week. For those of you that have not watched Dark, loaded up card for this week. You guys actually may want to check it out. Anthony Ogogo taking on Mito. Blake Christian faces Lucky Ali. Daniel Garcia faces Weston Blake. Meanwhile, Dante Martin and Matt Sydal go up against Aaron Solo and Nick Camarado. Jora Joel faces Ovari Morales. Iron Savages faces Sean Mulata. John Silver, Alex Reynolds, and 10 of the Dark Order go up against the team of Joey Sweets, DK Von Du, Tayshaun Perez. The lovely Kylan King, who we saw in action on tonight's Dynamite, went up against Mafusia. Max Caster goes up against Justin Cotto. Peter Avalon and Ryan Nemeth team up to face the team of Adrian Alanis and Liam Gray. Robin and Charlotte Renegade go up against Rocky Radley and Ali Rex. Meanwhile, Tony Nese and Josh Woods are in tag team action as they go up against the team of GKM and Oliver Sawyer. Trust Busters, Ari Davari, Slim J, Parker Bardot go up against Ryan Howe, Omar Amir, and Cash Flow, while the Work Horsemen go up against Rosario Grillo and Dean Alexander. So those are your matches for this week's AEW Dark. Meanwhile, for this Friday's AEW Rampage, and friendly reminder for those of you that maybe are going to be tied up with some studies or some work, or you're going to be out and about with friends, commuting or whatever, if you're not going to be able to watch Rampage this Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, just bookmark the 411mania.com website, and I'll actually be on the site as of 10 p.m. Eastern providing live ongoing coverage. So all you got to do is just bookmark and then just keep refreshing. You'll get the latest updates. And then 15 minutes after the show is off the air, I come right back, do a quick recap, overall review of that respective week's episode for the site. But the card for Rampage this week, Trios Tournament action as House of Black go up against Dark Order. Tay Conti and Sammy Guevara are in intergender action as they team up to face the team of Ruby Soho and Ortiz. Meanwhile, Ryman Nemeth goes up against Wardlow for the TNT Championship. Jade Cargill speaks. Claudio Castagnoli puts his ROH World Championship on the line against Dustin Rhodes. That's all for this Friday's AEW Rampage. Meanwhile, for next week's Dynamite, pretty much the go-home show to All Out, we're going to see Jake Hager in action against Bryan Danielson. Meanwhile, Tony Storm and Shida are in tag team action against Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter. So I'm sure as we go closer into this weekend, we'll know about more matches that's going to be going down for next week's AEW Dynamite. Looking forward to that. Meanwhile, you probably heard about this, but AEW apparently held a talent meeting before tonight's Dynamite. And PW Insider, they revealed some details about what transpired during that meeting, as it was described to be very animated and impassioned from Tony Khan. Fightful Select had noted that Khan was pretty fired up for the meeting, which took place for about an hour between 3 p.m. and 4 p.m. Eastern. Khan reportedly talked about several new structures that were going to be put in place, such as talent relations and development divisions being expanded to make it better for talents. The meeting talked about lines of communication. Basically, there being better lines of communication, as Khan addressed the rumors of miscommunication in the company and talked about having access to him whenever they needed that access. Kenny Omega and the Bucks, they reportedly had said that their door is always open for those that wish to approach them, talk to them about anything, any concerns that they're having. They're always there. Chris Jericho, Tony Schiavone were said to have spoke at the meeting as well. One kind of, this will maybe make you chuckle a little bit. Khan had said that they are in an industry that has been long dominated by WWE, and that he's done everything he can to make it better for talent. And he also said that just before the meeting took place, apparently Chief Legal Officer Miga Parka sent an email to WWE co-CEOs Nick Khan and Stephanie McMahon telling them not to tamper with AEW talent. So, I would just like to believe that, of all the talent that is currently available, I mean, yeah, granted, there's obviously some people that I'm sure WWE wishes that they could have back. I'm sure that, for Triple H, Paul Levesque, hey, wish I could have my man Aleister Black. Hey, I wish I could have my man Miro back. I wish I could have Swerve Strickland back and everything. But I mean, you just gotta keep on moving forward. You gotta keep moving on. Okay, so it's just funny that Tony Khan had revealed this, because this just feels more along the lines of, assuming this is true now, everything with this report is true, but particularly homing in on this one, you're just going, wait a minute, the talent didn't need to hear that. This really should have been something that should have been shared between Tony Khan and his EVPs. That's all who really needed to know about this, sincerely, because yeah, I mean, that sounds nice and everything, that, oh, hey, we had our legal person, like, I mean, it just sounds so fucking funny. It does. And I'm not going to say it comes off pressed, because it doesn't, but it just comes off rather, what's the word I'm looking for? It makes Tony Khan come off as if he has been reading those dirt sheets and he's taken what those reports are that's being put out there to his bank, and basically, God damn it, we got to make sure that, and it's just, hey, man, all you got to do, as long as you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, you're making your talents happy and creatively, and look, I will say this on a side note, on a more serious note. I'm happy to hear that Tony Khan, has basically done this meeting, and that he has, pretty much, hey, look, we got better lines of communication that's here. Anybody that wants to, that's good that you have this, right? Because we've seen some of the wrestlers that have spoken up within recent years of their time in AEW, even as recent as earlier this month, where you have wrestlers basically saying, "Hey, look, man, I didn't join AEW just to be sitting on the sidelines, pretty much, and catering and enjoying my hotel room. I'm trying to get some TV time. I'm trying to get some in-ring action and everything. I'm not really interested in only being used sparingly here and there for a YouTube show. I'm pretty much in this to really get my hands dirty, and I don't really like the way I'm being properly utilized." You've constantly seen that be a running gag. You've also heard wrestlers that have said, "Hey, I just feel like creatively they're not doing anything with me, and I just feel like my time's being wasted." And right, so it's nice to hear that you've got these better lines of communication that's being out there. It's also nice to hear that as far as talent relations, these development divisions go. Remember, some people have recently got hired. We had talked about it a couple of weeks ago. They got not hired, but elevated. Hired and elevated, actually, because Madison Rain is now, part of the team. But, you also have folks such as QT Marshall get elevated, Tony Schiavone get elevated. It was quite Sanjay Dutt get elevated. There was quite a few promotions slash elevations with those respective parties I had mentioned that went down in the past couple of weeks and all that. So hopefully, only time will tell. I mean, honestly, we got to fast forward 3 to 6 months from now to see, okay, all right, where are we now? Is the morale of the talent right? I just feel when it's all said and done, this is Tony Khan's way of, I'm sure he is hearing what he's probably been hearing about what's going on with the current morale in WWE now that you've got Paul Levesque, Nick Khan, and them in charge, and they're trying to do everything humanly possible to remind folks in AEW, hey, remember, we were first. We gave you guys a really great fun, working environment. We gave you this, we gave you that, and hey, have we lapsed in a few areas? Yeah, but now more than ever, we're definitely dedicated to making sure that going forward, these are tightened up. Execution of these respective departments are better, and it's good to do stuff like this and everything, but the action speaks louder than the words. So it's going to be interesting to see as far as the proof being in the pudding, as they like to say. It's going to be interesting to see what happens a couple of months from now. We'll see how that pans out. Hey, rest in peace to Howard Brody, who served as the president of the NWA from the late 1990s going into the early 2000s. This definitely was during a particular period in the NWA where it was dying a slow death. One of its, looking at that particular period, not really the fine moments, not of its finest moments there. In NWA history and everything. It looks like he had passed away from an infection stemming from the aftermath of a quadruple bypass surgery that he recently underwent. So, Brody was involved in wrestling for years, but best well known for his run in the NWA from 1996 until 2001, when he was the president of the organization during what many have described as the lowest point in the history of the NWA, downright on the verge of fucking dying when it's all said and done. He also was responsible for helping brokering in a deal with WWE to allow usage of the name and likeliness so that Jeff Jarrett, Jim Cornette, and the new Midnight Express, if you guys remember, there's that short-lived NWA invasion that was done in WWE back in the day. Very, very short-lived. The storyline itself, it did not last that long. It was a real quick cup of coffee. But at the same time, that when it went down, it did do its respected part in help in a way where it had created new interests in the NWA. And as many of you guys know, ultimately, Jeff Jarrett doing his thing with TNA, having that working relationship with the NWA for a good minute, where before there was even an official TNA World Heavyweight Championship, their original World Heavyweight Championship was the NWA 10 pounds of gold, as many of you recall and everything. So, all things considered, right, and how there was that new interest, right, it kind of worked out a little bit well for them and everything. So, in addition to his involvement with NWA, Brody was also involved in Ring Warriors along with Hiro Matsuura. I said that wrong. I got my aligners off, so like certain words I'm saying it's a tongue twister. But Hiro Masuda, which almost brought New Japan Pro Wrestling to syndication in America. So long before New Japan Pro Wrestling was doing his thing on Access TV, with Ring Warriors and all that, that was, almost the original, New Japan almost coming to, syndication in America. Yeah, definitely Brody was one that almost kind of spearheaded that. He worked with Herb Abrams, who famously short-lived UWF, as well as the Wild Women of Wrestling, and he wrote a couple of books, including 2009's book Swimming with Piranhas, Surviving the Politics of Professional Wrestling, and co-authoring credit, if I remember, he was given for Dusty Rhodes' autobiography book. So once again, Howard Brody passed away, so rest in power to him. And so that is kind of sucks, when you hear that, but it's going to be interesting to see how many other people go. I know Cornette. I imagine Cornette is definitely going to go down there and have a story or two to share about him and everything. Other than that, there's really nothing else that's been going on wrestling news-wise. It's all pretty much been relatively quiet. If you guys are just tuning in, I don't know where you guys been, but we pretty much exhausted the hell out of the talk of CM Punk and everything earlier. So depending on where you're watching this, shout out if you're accessing this right now via YouTube, there's a really cool function that you got right at your fingertip. It's a rewind button. All you got to do is just hold it, go back to the very beginning, and we go into all the loveliness about CM Punk and all that stuff that had went down. Because at this point, that's it. I mean, we pretty much went a little bit all over the place on this show, and there is nothing else really to get into. So, programming notes, we'll be back with you guys this Monday, August 29th, 2022, for an all-new RCWR show. I'll be joining you guys live via Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube. Just use the keywords the RCWR show. Will be live after WWE Raw goes off the air. Regular week of programming on that note as we make our way into AEW All Out. Man, I'm very excited for that respected week, man. I tell you what, very excited for that. And see what else. Be kind, rewind, check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads wherever you get your podcasts. One more time, if it's your first time here, welcome. If you haven't subscribed yet, do subscribe so you don't miss out on future content that comes your way on a weekly basis. Be part of our almost 12,200 subscribers and growing familia on YouTube. And you can get at me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Use the keywords, the RCWR show. So, again, for those of you that's going to make it up to this point, let me know your thoughts about, likes, dislikes about Dynamite for this week. Sound off about what I had to say about the whole CM Punk situation. If you're kind of seeing it my way or you got your own unique spin on it. What's your impressions on the AEW Fight Forever game so far? What are you most looking forward to the most with that game? I read and go through all the comments that come my way. So bear with me, because depending on what's going on, sometimes I'm able to reply, and then other times I'm just able to give a like. And if I give you a like, I'm letting you know I read it, but I try to do my best to follow up on the comment as well. All right. Unless you got other plans, have a fantastic weekend. And until next go around, I'm wishing for all of y'all to be safe and, most importantly, be kind to one another. If you're going to be waiting for this audio-wise, give me about 45 minutes to an hour, and it will be available wherever you get your podcast. Take care, y'all. Peace.